Hey, YouTube. Well, it's come to an end. I'm going to talk about the assassination of Gianni Versace, or Gianni Versace. All right, episode 9, the finale. This thing opens up with Andrew right before he murders the victim. He's walking on the beach, noticing people, smells, and sounds, I'm sure, for the last time, or what he feels is going to be the climax of this. So the show is him shooting Versace. There's a moment there where I believe at the end of this episode, we're going to see their encounter when Andrew actually met Versace and how that went down, right? We haven't seen that so far. We know that they had met once briefly, but it's going to be more revealed there. So he knew who Andrew was. And in the moment, the split second that he turned around to face his killer, my guess is he recognized who it was. All right. Okay, so Andrew's on the run now. He finds this house. I guess it's like a vacation home or a weekend home where people are not there. He breaks in his house on the beach. And there's food there and everything is there. People obviously live there, but not full time. Okay. Starts to watch the news reports on the television all through the house about what he's done, and he is ecstatic about it. He is jolly. There's a bottle of booze left in the refrigerator. He even gets drunk, celebrating. So he likes this moment. I guess whatever it is that drives the spree killer to want to kill somebody famous, whatever that's all about, this is what he's feeling in this moment. Although we all know it's not going to last. The bottom line is the world knows who he is. He couldn't be famous. He couldn't be special, doing good. So he chose infamy. Now the whole world knows who he is because he's the #1 person on the FBI most wanted list. The FBI informs Miss Meglin, Lee Meglin's wife, that Andrew had just killed Versace and that she should get out of town, and they have a plane waiting for her. She's a flight waiting for her. She's there coincidentally to promote her products, to do a commercial for her perfume line. That's just purely coincidental. She happens to be in this very same town. She says, of course not, I'm running from him. And why haven't you caught him? She's very, of all the characters, her personality is the hardest for me to understand, really. Because she's so stoic and she's so tense and so, her personality doesn't really come through. I mean, is she angry? I know she's never confronted this issue, at least in this series, about the fact that they've discovered that he was gay. Did she already know that? We don't know anything about any of that. But she's still very resentful and she wants him dead. She makes that clear. Okay. She says no, she's not leaving Florida. He spots a woman. This is I think this is Hollywood here. He spots a woman walking toward a restaurant. He sees her putting her keys in her purse. Now, I don't know how he's going to time that he's going to be able to grab this woman's purse without her seeing him steal it. Most women are very in touch with what their purses are. So how he can anticipate that her purse would be left on the table, out of her left in the chair or on the table, out of her eyesight for a moment, that he can steal it without her recognizing it. I think that might have been a little bit of embellishment by the producers of the show, the writers. But anyway, point is, he stole the lady's pocketbook. He didn't have any money either. So maybe there's a few dollars in there. You can't go anywhere to spend it. But primarily, he steals her pocketbook so he can get her car. He steals her. She's got a new Mercedes. He's going to drive out of town with this Mercedes, or so he thinks. But there are roadblocks all over the island, and he can't get off the island. So he abandons the car. Let me see what I see. There's some old man on the. He runs into this old guy, right? Guy, a resident there somewhere, and the guy tells him that, oh no, you can't get off. Andrew asks him, is there any way off the island, any back roads or anything? And he says, no. The whole city is being blockaded because of they're looking for Andrew Cunanan, right? So I don't know why this guy. Apparently his picture is shown all over the television, all over the newspapers, all over everywhere. They're all looking for Andrew Cunanan. And this guy, not in disguise now, Andrew walks up to this guy in his regular face. No, there's no facial hair change, no hair change, nothing. And asks this man about how he can get off the island. And this man does not recognize him. He says something fleeting like, what's your name, young man? More creative writing there. I don't know how that man would not know who this dude was, or how he would even have the balls to approach somebody on the island when the whole damn island is looking for him, looking just like himself. Anyway, let me not get stuck on the details. All right, so I don't know why he had a cane, but it was a walking cane. It wasn't a blind stick. All right, FBI contacts his mother in San Diego. Next thing, Andrew's back at, wait a minute, did he go to the boat first? Yeah, he's back at the house. He sees on television that his mother has been taken in. All the crowd around his mother. Then next they show his friend Ronnie. They come back for his friend Ronnie. Remember that guy he was partying with on the beach for a couple of days? They pick him up. He's very snide with them. He doesn't like cops, apparently. He's a drug addict. And he's kind of, I don't know, he has some hostility towards the FBI, towards society, straight people, and the way gay people are treated in society. Although this is the late 90s, I wouldn't think it would be. Anyway, this is this man's personality. He's snide with them. He tells them, and after his little gay speech, that Andrew was not hiding. He's trying to be seen, which is key. Because if he was trying to hide, why would he go around the whole country killing people? And particularly someone like Versace. So he already had a nationwide manhunt out for Andrew before he even got to Versace. So in that way, he doesn't want to be seen. But fortunately, the killing stopped with Versace. Okay. Next we see Andrew breaks into this boat, which is not very far from the house. They're in seeing distance because he can look through binoculars and see this boat, the scene where this boat is. Anyway, he breaks into this boat. He needs food, for one thing. He can't go in the stores and buy food. So he has to go in there and he steals food. And a woman approaches the boat because she sees a friend of hers. His boat is open when she didn't think he was going to be there this weekend. So she's calling out to him, and she comes onto the boat. So I guess he's just tired of killing people because he could have easily killed this woman. But he goes in the bathroom. She pushes the door, so she knows someone's in there. So she runs and tells the police. Andrew gets away. He has to go back to the houseboat or the house. Leave the boat and go back to the house. See, the old Andrew, the Andrew of a couple of weeks before that, would have just killed her, like he did with the guy in the funeral. I mean, in the what do you call it, cemetery. So apparently he's busted his nut as far as all his killing, because there's another incident in here also where he could have got away by killing someone, and he doesn't do it. There's no food. Okay. Then he sees his girlfriend on TV. This house has got all TVs in almost every room, so he's just going around the house looking at every police report, right? Next, he sees his girlfriend, that blonde girl. I forget her name. The one one of his only true friends left. He only had two. Jeff was one. He killed him, and this girl is left. They're interviewing her on the news, and then they're interviewing David's father. And his father is talking about what a good guy David, and David was a good guy. David just met the wrong person. This turned into an obsession. I got a couple of comments about how this whole thing came about, because Cunanan. Well, I guess the thing with David ignited this. He's not really a serial killer. He's more of a spree killer, where he just goes crazy and just all of a sudden started killing people. This is what he is. But it was ignited for jealousy. There was a motive initially. There wasn't like he wanted to kill people. He got jealous. Jeff and David were having an affair behind his back, and he was obsessed with David. So he killed them both. Right? After that, killing meant nothing. He was just on this thing. Yeah. Well, after that, after he killed those two, then he went and killed that guy senselessly for his car. The guy in the cemetery. He could have locked him up or tied him up or something. And then he set his sights on Versace. Maybe this is his one chance to be famous before he died. I don't have no idea. I don't understand the rationale of doing all that to be famous, and then you kill yourself so you don't even see the fame. Whatever that few days that he was able to see the newscast, that's the only time anybody gonna know who he was. He's gone, so he don't even see it. But a lot of them end up that way. A lot of killers, spree killers, school killers, they end up killing themselves. But what's the point? That's why we need God. You need to fear something, honey. All right. There's no food. First, he starts eating out of the trash can. Then he gets a peanut butter thing he discarded and puts his finger in there. It's a starvation thing. He's eating out of the garbage first. Then he spots people had a dog, so they have dog food there. At first, he eats the dog food. At least one upchuck, so he spits it out. But eventually, that's all there he is. He's hungry enough. He gobbles that dog food down like a real dog. Calls his father. Okay. So he calls his father in Manila. His father is all telling him, his father's so full of shit. Okay, his father tells him, don't cry, boys, don't cry, whatever. He's talking to him like he's his little child again. And he tells, Andrew says he's scared. That's got to be the world's biggest understatement. Excuse me. So his father tells him, I'm going to be there. I'll be there in 24 hours. I'm going to take you and hold you in my arms and all this stuff. Andrew says, yes, Dad. Yes, Dad. He didn't have a lot of lines in this phone call. But he gets all packed up and ready to go. Father tells him, I'll be there in 24 hours. Be ready to go pack. So he's packing these other people's clothes like they're his. He's waiting at the door for his father to show up, right? As he's doing that, he's watching television. And his father comes on television. From Manila, he's being interviewed. His father is bragging about him. Remember, his father was as obsessed with Andrew as Andrew became obsessed with David. Obsession. But he's still a kind of a shiesty character, because he told Andrew that he was coming there to see him. This is another thing that confused me, because I thought for sure that the next thing we were going to see was his father calling the police, because Andrew gave him his address and told him exactly where he was. But in the interview, he wouldn't tell him where he was. Instead, he tells him how he's working on a movie deal. Andrew's sitting there waiting on him with his clothes all packed by the door, right? And this man is telling the reporters, first of all, how wonderful Andrew was, and he was not a homosexual, and that his father probably would have killed him if he knew that. That was all hype and all this. The main thing is he's not on his way to Florida, which was ridiculous, and that he's shopping a movie deal on Andrew's life. Andrew sees this and goes and blows a hole through the middle of the TV. He shoots his ass. So if his father was in shootable range, his ass would have been grass. Okay. That was a ultimate betrayal for him. All right, next thing we see is Donatella and Antonio. They have a talk before the funeral. She tells him he's getting nothing. She never liked him, but that is someone who loved your brother's partner. Now, what would your brother think if he left his partner there and you dogged him out like that? I mean, this is still a part of your brother. He was a part of his life. As far as she knows, the biggest part she ever knew anyway. I mean, they were together for many, many years. I think 10 years or something like that. Anyway, she tells him he's on his own. And he says, Donatella, I loved him. Maybe it's tacky to be talking about money then, but you have to realize this man's going to be homeless if she puts him out of the damn houses. But she said, there's nothing for you. My brother spent too much money. So the houses, all the property were in the company name. So I guess that means all the fabulous antiques and things were in the company name as well. She is the company. Keep that in mind. She said, oh, no, I got to run it through the board. The board would never go for it. Basically, she's telling him, this is goodbye. So she's telling him he's got nothing coming. Right? I mean, she didn't even offer him, I'll get you a little house in the valley or a little condo or something, anything. I would think if someone was in love with my brother and my brother died in this horrible way, I would look out for his partner in some way. She doesn't have that kind of compassion. Okay. Antonio goes to the funeral. Of course, I think he's seated there near the family, but everyone ignores him. And the priest comes around and kisses all the family's hand, and then Antonio sticks his hand out to be kissed, and the priest snatches it away, pulls away from him, so he won't touch his hand, which is so ironic because if you follow the news and you see now in Italy or in the Vatican, all of these gay priests. I know a guy who went to those schools, whatever we call them. He said they're full of gay men. They're full of gay men. People, and in the news just last week, they were reporting about how this one prostitute was having all these different priests, all homosexuals, and they still play this damn role. The church is against homosexuality. That one that just passed him up, he might have been gay himself. Anyway, okay. Okay, so Andrew, all right, I guess he's going through his ritual. He shaves his head. I don't know if he shaves his head because he thinks he's getting out of town with his father, or he shaves his head, he thinks he's going to run some more, or he just shaves his head as part of his ritual for Harry Carey. But Andrew shaves his head, and then someone calls a property manager. First, I thought it was a gangster. In the original story, people were saying that a gangster had come there to kill him, right? So this guy, he had a gun, but it looks like it was a property manager because he went to a board, and I thought he was a gangster because he wrote down the address to the boat. Why would he have to write it down if he manages that property? But he went to a board and it was a board of keys, so he was in charge of many properties. So it was a property manager who had a gun. He went to the house to check out this report that somebody said that they had seen him there or something. Yeah, someone had seen him there. Somebody called it into the manager. He came there with his gun pulled, which was quite stupid. What he's supposed to do, he escaped a bullet. He was supposed to notify the FBI immediately. They're all over the island. They got 400 police there on the island looking for Andrew Cunanan. And he gets this report of this guy in the house. And he goes and sees that the door has been broken into. And he takes his ass up in the house. So he got his gun, looking around the house. Come out, I know you're in here. And Andrew is up on a higher level and sees him with his gun. And he's got a clear shot at this man's head. But he doesn't shoot his head. He shoots up into the ceiling. Scares the man. The man runs. Of course, he runs right to the FBI. In moments, the whole place is surrounded. Right? So he could have killed him again. I don't know if he could have ran anywhere, but maybe he just realized that killing at that point, it wouldn't make any difference. It's over. So first they surround the house, try to talk him out a little bit, and then they cut the power. The whole boat, he can't see what's going on outside. Cut the power and immediately fire tear gas all over the house. So now there's tear gas all in the house. Andrew goes into the bedroom. He places the gun as he hears them coming into the property, gun into his mouth, and blows his damn brains out. That's the end of Andrew Caldwell. I mean, do you guys notice how close those names are? We're talking about the YouTube famous Andrew Caldwell. This guy's name is Andrew Cunanan. So they're similar. That's why I keep mixing them up. Blows his brains out. They flash back to when he had met Versace in San Francisco. Okay, so we saw how Andrew had met him in the club, how Versace had invited him to this play. They show us the conversation that actually happened, although I don't know how Andrew would be having a flashback if he's dead. They're just showing this for us. What happened, Andrew, he was a prostitute and a hustler, and he had been able to manipulate these men. I don't know why, because he's never showed any personality. But I guess him and Versace said they made out, they kissed. So I don't know if that means they had sex or not. What difference does it make, really? They made out, they connected, and Andrew wanted more. Andrew wanted to be his protege. He says he was all about fashion. And Versace, he says, I'm not looking for an assistant. We made out, we had a good time. That's it, some other time. So he brushes him off. Of course he brushes him off. He's got a partner, he's got a life. Andrew's just a hooker. Anyway. That's right, okay. So they had to talk. He got rejected by Versace, and maybe that was why he resented him. Maybe he was just getting even. And that's why I said when I began this thing that I thought there was a moment where he recognized who was killing him. Because he turned from the gate, made eye contact, and then Andrew shot him. So he knew. Donatella then has remembrances of the last time she talked to Versace, her brother, which is natural. You hope those memories will fade, but you never know if somebody's murdered. There's no chance. There's no time for preparation or sweet goodbyes or anything like that. It's just like if you just argue with the person and they walk out the door and they get murdered, then there is, to a certain degree, there's an unresolved issue that you had. They weren't mad at each other, but he was arguing with her about her putting on this show by herself in Rome. She said she had it. She had it covered. Don't worry about it. So they already showed he was a bit of a control man when it came to this business of theirs. He called back. I guess he wanted to talk some more, and she said, excuse me, I don't want to be bothered. Now, that's nobody's fault. She was trying to do her job. She had no idea that this man would be dead. But you never know when the last time. Kiss your loved ones, honey, and tell them you love them. You never know when the last time is going to come, when something could happen. And something did happen. Okay, and Antonio, they cut to poor Antonio. So Ricky Martin gets basically the last scene. Donatella gets the actual last scene, but Ricky Martin gets near the last scene. He takes a whole handful. Now, these must be some awful weak pills, because I mean a handful of pills. Not 10 pills. We're talking 50 pills. Takes them, commits suicide. What they show us is a maid discovering him, and he is still alive, but just barely. So what I remember of the real story, they were able to get into a hospital. He did live, which means probably more than likely he's still alive. These were not old people. They were still in their 40s. Maybe he was even a little younger than that. So he survived. And that, I guess, that's the end of it. Last scene is Donatello lighting all these candles in this big, huge mausoleum. Beautiful. You know, of course it would be. Saying goodbye to her brother. That was it. That was the series. It was a good series. I hate to see it go. Part of me hates to see it go. Part of me kept saying, do it, bitch, do it. Kill yourself. I wish these people who always want to kill everybody would just kill them. If it's going to end in them killing themselves anyway, what difference does it make? Why not let some other people live? That's the crazy, the evil part. And that's why you need God. If you have any inkling that there might be something beyond this life, you're not going to go out and just murder people right before you go to that place. You believe in nothing, I guess it doesn't make a difference. All right, that was it. I'm looking forward to this Getty thing. What's it called? Trust. Maybe I'll review that. We'll see.